the authority that names the end. There's a quiet assumption buried deep in the system that death is not just something that happens, but something that must be declared. Not felt, not witnessed, not experienced, declared. And not by everyone, not by the family, not by the one who died, not by the crowd, by one. The coroner, the medical examiner, the authorized voice. So the question isn't just what is death? The question is, who has the power to make it real? Because the moment that signature hits the paper, the system locks it in. A label becomes a fact. A classification becomes a reality. A word becomes a world. But slow it down. Who trained the coroner? Who created the criteria? Who decided what counts as alive and what qualifies as dead? Who built the 5 doors in the first place? Natural, accident, homicide, suicide, undetermined, and said everything must fit here. Notice what's happening. The authority doesn't just observe death, it defines it. And once defined, everything downstream obeys. Insurance pays or denies. Criminal charges appear or disappear. Records get written. Stories get told. Identities get sealed. All from one declaration. That's not observation. That's authorship. And here's where it gets even tighter. Why only one person? Why not 5? Why not consensus? Why not the family? Why not the one whose body it was? Because a system that depends on certainty cannot afford multiple truths. So it centralizes authority. One voice, one stamp, one version of reality. Closed loop. But now push it further. How did that one voice become trusted? Did the coroner discover death, or inherit a definition of it? Medical school didn't create death. It trained recognition patterns, protocols, measurements, thresholds. Heart stops, brain activity ceases, organs fail. But those are indicators, not death itself. So now we're staring at something deeper. Death in the system is not an event. It's a decision framework, a structured agreement about when something is no longer considered alive. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Because now the question flips. If death requires an authority to declare it, what was it before it was declared? Was it uncertain? Was it undefined? Or was it simply not yet named? And if it must be named to become real in the system, then what gives the name its power? Not truth, agreement. The coroner doesn't stand alone. Behind that one signature is an entire invisible structure. Medical institutions, legal frameworks, educational systems, historical definitions, cultural beliefs, all collapsed into one pen stroke. So when the coroner signs, it's not one person speaking. It's the system speaking through one person. And that's why it's closed. Because once the system defines death, everything else must conform. There's no appeal outside the structure, no alternative category, no 6th door. Unless you question the premise itself. Not was it natural or homicide, but what is death before it is labeled? Because if the label is what activates reality in the system, then the system isn't discovering truth. It's organizing perception. And now we're right at the edge of it. The authority that names the end
is also the authority that defines what the end is. So the real question isn't who gets to call it death. The real question is, what happens if no one does?